Welcome to Clash Corner, your daily dose of chaos.
I sealed a wasp nest and trapped thousands inside my house. I sealed a wasp nest in my wall with expanding foam. Turns out, there was another exit going straight into my house. I had a wasp nest in the side of my house for a while now. Last week they stung one of my friends, so it was time to get rid of them. Given the amount of wasps in and out, it seemed like a big nest. To guess the size, I would say a wasp entered or left the nest once a second, all day. I didn't want to just spray poison down the hole. That would just make them angry and not reach most of it. So I decided to seal the nest with expanding foam sealant. I snuck out in the dead of night and stuck enough foam in that hole to seal half a construction site. Little did I know how terrible of an idea this was. Apparently, there was another exit to the nest going inside the house. This nest is enormous. Average size for a nest this late in the season is 2,000 to 4,000 wasps. Half our house is currently inaccessible. I sneak down to the basement at night to change the traps. I keep a hand vacuum next to my workstation. Our cats are not happy. They've been locked into a single room and are making a mess everywhere to show their discontent. I've gone through about 7 magazines on the bug salt gun, with maybe 40 shots per magazine. These things are armor-plated and do not die easily. I've injured my arm pumping the thing so many times. I think the most disconcerting thing is how normal it has become. I wake up, grab the shop vacuum on the 60-foot extension cord, and just clear the house as a matter of routine. It's part of rising and shining for the day. Coffee, breakfast, wasp vacuuming, kiss the wife goodbye, time to work. The cold is going to kill them at some point, right? Would you still be living there, or would you have left by now?
Ready for more? Here comes Clash number 2.
My boyfriend gave me an STI and won't admit he cheated. My boyfriend came home from deployment and calmly told me he tested positive for chlamydia. Then he asked if I had been with anyone else. I've been with my boyfriend for a little over 2 years. He's in the military, and before anyone jumps in with assumptions about that, I'm not trying to hear it right now. On February 5th, he told me he tested positive for chlamydia. He was very calm about it. I work from home, and he came into the office and said he needed to talk to me when I had a second. I finished what I was doing and went to talk to him. He said he got tested that day and the results came back positive for chlamydia. Then he asked if I had been intimate with anyone while he was away. I was shocked. I said no, I absolutely did not sleep with or kiss anyone while he was away. I asked him the same question because I knew for a fact I hadn't done anything. He said no, he would never sleep with anyone. He was deployed and working the entire time. He barely had time for himself. So now I'm sitting there thinking, then how is this possible? I told him I'd go get tested immediately, hoping maybe it was a false positive. I left work early and got tested. 2 days later, my results came back positive. I have chlamydia. I'm in shock. I'm crying. I'm overthinking. I'm trying to find any possible loophole, any explanation for how this could happen, but the truth is, there is no way this happens without one of us cheating. Here's the timeline. He was gone from September 2025 to December 13, 2025. I got an IUD on November 20th and had STI testing done that same day. Everything came back negative, so the only window where I could have supposedly hooked up with someone else was the 3 weeks between that test and when he came home. But during that time, I was visiting my parents for Thanksgiving. When I came home the week of December 8th, I was working and preparing for his arrival. I learned how to make butter chicken for the first time for him, made a welcome home sign, and cleaned the whole apartment. I was so excited. He came home, and obviously we were intimate. A lot. Everything seemed great until December 29th, when he said he could feel my IUD poking him. The doctor had told me that was normal, but then he said his penis was swollen and hurting a little. That was weird, so I messaged my doctor. I told the doctor he was having irritation after intercourse, discomfort, itching, and that he felt a poking sensation. I asked if it could be related to my IUD. The doctor's response was that the poking sensation was likely from the IUD strings, but the irritation and discomfort were probably not related. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but now, typing this out, that was a very clear sign of chlamydia. I got my IUD removed not because of him but for other medical reasons and switched to another form of birth control. He didn't mention any more irritation, and I didn't have symptoms, so I didn't even consider cheating back then. Now we're here. Both of us tested positive. And I'm losing my mind. I've researched, I talked to my doctor. Every single explanation leads back to the same conclusion: he was intimate with someone else. I told him this. I said, please just tell me the truth. I won't be mad, I just want honesty. He said he's telling me the truth. I'm the only person he's been with in this relationship. That phrasing didn't hit me until later. He's the type of person who avoids lying by being technically truthful. Saying, in this relationship, instead of, in general, is suspicious. I don't know, just a random thought. He left yesterday for training. He's supposed to come back Friday, but he could deploy again at any moment. So now I'm home alone with all of this. He keeps saying we can go to the doctor together and ask how this is possible if neither of us cheated. And part of me thinks, if he's willing to go to the doctor, maybe he's not lying. But realistically, he's just clinging to confusion because it's safer than admitting the truth. I know he's lying because I know I didn't cheat, but he won't admit it. I don't know how to get the truth out of him. I just want him to say it so I can stop spiraling. He's acting completely normal. He's talking about our future, being loving with me, and this is all normal. We always are loving and talk about our future and goals. But all of this is making me feel insane. My heart hurts. I'm confused. And now that he's gone, I can finally think clearly without his actions convincing me we're okay. I'm planning to start packing my things and move back in with my parents. But I feel like I need him to just say he cheated so I can feel some kind of closure. I don't know what to do. Would you leave without the confession, or would you need to hear him say it?
The chaos doesn't stop. Clash number 3.
I cried about the way another man looked at me. Tonight I finally made the decision to leave my marriage. And it all came down to the way another man looked at me. Tonight I finally made the decision to leave. It's been a question I've asked myself for months, years even. But tonight my mind was made up. I was sitting at the table eating dinner with my husband and children, and my mind wandered to my work's holiday party a few days before. I was nervous because I didn't know many people I was with. I was overthinking, as I do, that I'd be awkward or embarrass myself. Standing in the line for security, staring at the floor thinking all these things, I looked up at the entrance to see my really handsome work colleague staring at me with this smile. Not predatory, not creepy, but soft. Eyes looking right into mine. It was like a moment from a romantic film where the girl walks in slow motion while the man falls completely in love. He was completely in awe of me. And really, truly saw me. In that moment in the middle of dinner, I burst out crying, blaming it on being tired. That moment I knew my marriage was dead. It wasn't that I even wanted this man or even saw anything would ever happen with him. It was that this was one of the most romantic moments of my life, and it was someone who is practically a stranger. My husband has never looked at me like that, ever. Never really, truly ever seen me. I cried because an acquaintance made me feel more loved in a single brief moment than this man had ever made me feel. That's the moment the last string of hope for this marriage was cut. The exact moment. Have you ever had a moment that changed everything? What would you do?
Another clash is on the way. Here's number 4.
I ordered adult meals for my kids at a family lunch and my sister-in-law got upset. We went to a restaurant for my mother-in-law's birthday lunch, and my sister-in-law decided what all the kids would eat without asking me first. We went to a restaurant for my mother-in-law's birthday lunch. When orders were being taken, my sister-in-law announced that all the kids would be having kids' meal tenders and fries with juice. My 9-year-old and 4-year-old eat adult meals. 2 chicken tenders and a handful of fries will not fill them up, so when the waiter got to me, I told him my kids will have adult meals since I'm the one paying for them. They ordered their meals and my sister-in-law was upset. She said I embarrassed her and made her kids question her, because she told them they were getting the same thing all the other kids were eating. So, am I in the wrong? Was I wrong for ordering what I knew my kids needed?
Chaos overload. Let's wrap up this final clash.
I reconnected with my high school crush and now I'm heartbroken. I reconnected with my high school crush after years of silence, and now I wish I hadn't. I met her in my junior year of high school. We shared a single class together, which I always looked forward to, mostly because I got to see her. I was hopelessly infatuated. To be blunt, a good chunk of that infatuation was based purely on physical attraction. She was beautiful, easily one of the prettiest girls in our school, and she wore outfits that called attention to her looks. Tons of guys found her attractive, though unfortunately a lot of them saw her as the kind of girl you hook up with, not one you date. A former friend of mine told me I was stupid for thinking she was worth anything more than that. He didn't understand why I'd be interested in her outside of physical attraction. But she never judged me for my self-harm scars. She just looked at them and moved on. There was none of the pity or fear I'd become accustomed to, just simple acknowledgement. That was rare in those days, when the scars were at their most visible. Most people made me feel like a curiosity to be stared at, but she made me feel like just another high school boy with a hopeless crush. She wasn't judgmental. She could be fiery and rude and make dumb decisions, but she didn't hold people's pasts against them. She'd been through some terrible stuff herself, though I didn't know the true extent of it until recently. We fell out of contact during community college, and only started talking again this past year. It's so good to hear her voice again, but the things she tells me are like daggers in my heart. From family dysfunction to medical debt to abusive relationships, she's been through so much since I last saw her. She says she's safe now, and I take some comfort in that. But then she tells me that she hides our conversations from her boyfriend, and I feel my guts twisting into knots. I believe her when she tells me she's better off than she was, but that doesn't actually mean she's in a good place. It feels like she's just resigned herself to her current life. She's far away from any of the people she grew up with, in a city where she has no friends, with a boyfriend she's financially dependent on after an injury. She sounds so happy when she talks to me. We reminisce about the people and places we have in common, and I can hear the joy in her voice. She tells me I'm one of her best friends. Years ago that statement would have set my heart ablaze. Now it just makes me sad. I should not be one of her best friends. There should be so many people ahead of me in that line, but she's so alone that somehow I make the cut. She deserves so much better than the life she has now. I hate the people who hurt her, and I hate the world that's trapped and isolated her. I want to help her, but I have no idea how. I don't have much money, and I know she wouldn't accept it if I offered. She lives halfway across the country, so visiting her regularly isn't an option. Even if I did, would we have to hide the visits from her boyfriend? My therapist thinks I'm doing the right thing just by being a friendly voice for her to talk to, but I don't think it's enough. It can never be enough when her material circumstances are so awful. I wish I could do more, but all I see are problems and no solutions. Have you ever reconnected with someone only to realize they're trapped in a life you can't save them from?
That was today's chaos. See you at the next clash. Don't just watch the clash, join the corner. Subscribe now.